the situation became dire as the ghostly, pale and motionless princess seemed to slip away into a coma. Finally, in despair, the queen remembered her encounter with Hauwa's godmother when Hauwa was little. Hauwa's godmother told her to always call on her whenever Hauwa is in grave danger. The queen prayed and called on Hauwa's godmother to help them. Hauwa's godmother appeared and gave the queen the solution to end the plague. Though repulsed, the queen had the doctor mix the potion made of bitter roots and organic gels. They gently spooned the revolting concoction into Hauwa's mouth. Miraculously, just a day later, the princess started feeling much better. Over the next week and around-the-clock care, the strange medicine, along with the queen's loving touch, slowly brought Hauwa back from death. Though still very frail, Princess Hauwa had survived the illness that had killed scores of others. Overjoyed, her parents wept thankful tears as their daughter's fever broke fully, and she managed her first weak but beautiful smile. After several more days of rest and recovery, Princess Hauwa finally felt strong enough to carefully stand up from her sick bed. Still quite unsteady on her feet after so long and weak from fever, she shuffled slowly across the room, one hand trailing the wall for balance. Hauwa made her way to the full-length looking glass standing in the corner. As she peered anxiously at her reflection, the princess gasped aloud in shock. She barely recognized herself. The healing process of the plague has made her skin look fresher and suppler than Hauwa could ever remember. Turning in profile, she found with joy that her appearance had improved in every way. But most incredibly, as Hauwa lifted her hand hesitantly close to her mouth for a sniff, she discovered not a hint of her chronic, lifelong bad breath lingered anymore. The prolonged feverish sweating must have somehow purged the smell entirely from her mouth. Princess Hauwa let out an ecstatic laugh, twirling experimentally while inhaling her now sweet, scented breath in delighted disbelief. This wonderful cure was like a miracle. Words couldn't express her euphoria to finally be free of the bad breath that had plagued and isolated her since childhood. Nearly weeping in her happiness, Hauwa rushed excitedly to share the glorious news with her parents, the king and queen. She wanted everyone to know immediately that the infection, which had nearly killed her, had instead brought astonishing new confidence and joy into her life. With her radiating beauty and newly found confidence, pride began to set in, and Hauwa was unaware of it. After many more months, finally the rampant plague began dying away, and the strict quarantines on the villages could be lifted at last. As Princess Hauwa walked through the main gate of the castle for the first time in over a year, she held her breath nervously. She still remembered vividly the last time she had tried to join festivities in town, only to be met with the usual cruel recoils, whispered insults, and people pulling their children away to avoid her bad breath. But amazingly, today no one is shielded from Hauwa's approach. Villagers paused their revived marketplace bartering to gaze in admiration as the princess floated by. Hauwa was startled to hear praise called out for her graceful bearing and glowing health. Some even cautiously stepped nearer, wide eyes drinking in her beauty, looking entranced by her presence. The local young men in particular couldn't seem to stop boldly watching the princess's every move, their mouths hanging half open with affection. For the first time she could recall, Hauwa moved through her kingdom, feeling strong, confident, and truly accepted. It seemed that over the course of the plague's horrors, her cured bad breath and newly uplifted confidence had transformed her into a village belle that no one could ignore. Princess Hauwa was dizzy with the thrill of acceptance and admiration from the villagers she used to hide from. Caught up in self-pride over her cured bad breath and newfound beauty, she had nearly forgotten her loyal love, Abubakar. But walking through town, she spotted a familiar figure bounding eagerly down the road towards her. It was Abubakar, her dear friend, companion and bridegroom-to-be, who she hadn't seen in over a year since the plague hit. Hauwa's first eager impulse was to run straight into his arms with teary relief for his safety. But she caught herself short, doubts surfacing. Surely now she was too high above someone of common status, like Abubakar. She was a pampered royal, and he was a common drummer boy without notable wealth or a family name to elevate him, his thoughts swirling insecurely. In her turmoil, she wrestled with the decision of whether to surrender to her love for Abubakar or uphold the honor and legacy of her royal lineage. The princess composed her face into a formal, distant mask before Abubakar could reach her. When he did, the handsome flute boy was grinning. Desperate delight shone through as he cried, "My princess, how I have missed basking in your beauty and radiance." He moved toward her, as if expecting a warm embrace, but Hauwa stood reserved and still, making no move to welcome him back after their long separation. Abubakar joyfully stepped forward to hug Princess Hauwa. He was so thankful to see his beloved betrothed again after agonizing months apart. But the princess recoiled sharply away from his opening arms. A look of deep surprise and hurt flashed across Abubakar's face at her rejection. Confused, he searched her now cold eyes questioningly. In sharp, cutting tones, not like her warm voice of old, Hauwa stated that she no longer wished to continue their relationship. She told him that after enduring the plague's terrors and emerging more beautiful than ever, she now moved in different, higher social realms than a common boy like Abubakar ever could. Abubakar looked deeply hurt by Hauwa's harsh words, his anguish evident on his face. "But Hauwa, I love you," he protested passionately. "These months of silence only made me love you more. I'd do anything to make you my wife." Princess Hauwa met his gaze with a fiery glare. "You will address me as Princess Hauwa," she commanded coldly. "This conversation ends here. I deserve someone better than you." She spat out the words, feeling a cruel satisfaction in them. Then, without a backward glance or a pause to listen to his heartbroken cries, she swiftly turned away, marching off with determination. She blocked out Abubakar's anguished shouts, her chin held high, hoping her fancy clothes and aloof demeanor hid the pain she felt inside. In her mind, cutting off their connection so abruptly closed that chapter of her life for good. Now she had plenty of noble suitors vying for her attention, what more could she want?